Number two, the provisions of this law should be should be crafted better, in a better way. We came to the conclusion that the intent of the law was to exclude those convicted of heinous crimes, as well as habitual delinquents, escapists, recidivists. But that came only after a tedious and laborious harmonization of the various provisions of this law. Had it been clearly stated in one single provision, stand-alone provision, that the benefits of this law shall not apply to these classes of people, then we probably would not have a confusion such as what we have now.
Thank you. Thank you, Secretary.
Number three, if I may.
Go
May I
ahead,
just
Mr.
complete
Yes,
it,
yes, Secretary.
Mr. Santo, because I may not have the opportunity again. I would rather that the heinous crimes covered be expressly enumerated in the law. Because we are going by a definition of heinous crimes, which is found in another law. That enumeration of heinous crimes is found in the death penalty law of 1993.
That's correct.
All right, there are two classes of crimes enumerated there. One is where the penalty of death is mandatory. And for that reason, those offenses where the death penalty is mandatory are the ones classified as heinous. The second class of offenses enumerated in the death penalty law pertains to those where the court will have discretion on whether to impose reclusion perpetua or death. So depending on the actual circumstances of each case, the court will determine if death should be imposed or reclusion perpetua only. So there is an avenue there that the crime committed may not be a heinous crime.
Yes.
So, in other words, of course, we all know that in 2006, this law, the death penalty law, was repealed. All right, and in the sense that the imposition of the death penalty was now prohibited. But we are of the opinion that the only provision affected by the repealing law is only insofar as the imposition of the death penalty is concerned. But the classification of offenses, whether it's heinous or not, remains in that law. And we are using that remnant of that law as basis to determine whether a crime is a heinous crime or not. Now, in the proposed bills affecting the GCTA law, we would rather that the enumeration of heinous crimes be included there, so that there will be no room
No gray
at
area.
all for any doubt on what is covered or not.
Mr. Secretary, I'm just worried that the chairman might cut me off. I'm only given 5 minutes.
Yeah,
If
but
it's
my
all right with
answer, I
the
think,
chairman
is what
that,
I'm-
to allow him to continue with
I
the
just have
enumeration.
two more suggestions.
Okay, yes. Go
My
ahead,
answer is not
Secretary.
counted.
Go ahead, Secretary.
Number four, we would like to have transparency provisions in any amendment to this law. Transparency in the sense of maybe publication of the names of PDLs who may be released by virtue of the expiration of their sentence, whether full sentence or abbreviated sentence by virtue of good conduct. Number five, and the last, we would rather that there be a provision on oversight by Congress.
Okay.
This is obviously missing in a very important law like this. As we are experiencing now, we are conducting this this public hearing because the Congress wants to know how this law is being implemented. There's nothing in the present law that creates for oversight functions. We would rather that Congress insert that provision of oversight.
But that is inherent. We're doing oversight right now.
Thank you, sir, but it will be a
But
lot
that,
better.
the suggestion is well taken to be more explicit. Is that
Yes.
it? Yes, thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you
thank
very
you,
much,
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Sam.
Thank you, Secretary. Thank you, Chairman. Just actually one last very important point, one last question. We have a bill, Mr. Secretary, together with our colleagues here from the different agencies, creating, it's by the Senate President himself, Senate President Soto, which we fully support. No, we've had a caucus about it, and we said that we'll be voting on it favorably. And this is the bill creating a high-security jail complex. A brand new, you can call it Alcatraz. Ito po yung high-risk facility na sana hindi na po ito country club setup. Hindi na po siya parang country club. Wala na po mga kung ano-anong luxurious items. This will be similarly set up to the federal prisons of the United States and in isolation from cities and high population areas. And the reason why this is actually initially for drug traffickers, high-level drug traffickers, but we all agreed to already expand it to criminals accused of heinous crimes or convicts of heinous crimes. The reason, Mr. Secretary, is because number one, many times throughout several years, media has assisted us in uncovering anomalies in the prison system, wherein there are offenses of prison rules. For example, I recall one time coming home from, I believe it was either Congress or the Senate when I was still a congressman, Anthony Taberna, in his DZMM show, exposed a convict accused of murder that was actually loitering around or moving around the mall, with certain personnel. And then na pumutok po yan and lumabas na may ganong klaseng arrangement na binibigay pala at that time. Of course, I hope it was corrected already by this administration. But Mr. Secretary, would you agree with us that we need this kind of facility? Because it's obvious, it's not stopping. No matter who the president may be, parang ang dami pa rin tayong nakikitang nakakalusot sa prison rules at nabibigyan ng special consideration. Would you support such a measure, Secretary?
Definitely support that kind of measure.
Maybe last question, Mr. Chairman, to the VACC. I know marami na silang pinaglaban. Nandyan po yung aking mista na si Dante Jimenez, together with the head now of the VACC. May we ask a comment from you if you will support particular high security prison system or complex wherein we can keep all heinous criminals in one place without cell sites, without the comforts of being close to a mall, without comforts of being able to escape overnight and come back again in the daytime to be to take his role when there's a roll call. How would you?
Okay, Your Honor, we fully support that suggestion. As a matter of fact, for the past 3-4 years, we are suggesting that structure like similar to Alcatraz in the U.S. Alam na po natin, ang Pilipinas is consisting of 7,000 islands. So since we can get some, we can tap those islands to keep them isolated, especially high-value targets or high-profile cases.
Yes.
And also to distribute convicts, so not to breed familiarity with each other.
Actually, Your Honors, Mr. Chairman, the idea was to put them in an island. Ika nga. So anyone who would come approach the island would be either it has to be either friendly or enemies, or trying to or people that are trying to escape, living in and out of the island. And at the same time, this would be a cornerstone of the President's anti-corruption, anti-criminality program. If he can build a facility such as this, magkano lang naman po yan? Mr. Secretary, prime real estate na po yung Muntinlupa. We had a discussion with that with the Secretary Medialdia in the LEDAC the other day, and we said, you privatize or you bid out Muntinlupa, you can raise up to about 300 billion pesos. I think it's about 300 plus hectares or 380 hectares at 50,000 per hectare lang. That's already almost 200 billion pesos. Kung 100,000 per square meter yan, at maraming bibili niyan dahil ang BGC na yon ay 1 million per square meter, ay siguradong malaking pera para sa gobyerno yan. They can get a portion of that to build this high security facility to keep these people in. And hindi na po siya country club para matakot naman po ang mga kriminal natin dito sa bansa na pag nahuli sila, hindi parang baliwala lang na parang pa rin silang nasa loob ng isang hotel at they can still conduct criminal activities. So I thank you. I believe Chairman Dante Jimenez would just like to say something.
Yes, your Chairman. First of all, yes, I support such an idea. But before everything else, let me say that we are here because representing also the other victims of heinous crimes. Yes, we have tackled in the hearing the cases of Mr. Sarmenta and Gomez cases. But you see, in the VACC, of which I'm the founding chairman, thousands are now listening to this hearing because they would like to find out whether their convicts are part of those 11,000 that has been mentioned in many occasions. So I'm happy that the Secretary of Justice is really wants amendment, and at the same time, if not amendment, if you can already be transparent, give all the list of the convicts that are due for GCTA. Lahat nagulat talaga nung pumutok itong kay Sanchez. Pero how about those na mga hindi kalalang mga kaso? Ito pong aming nire-represent po dito sa ating hearing, Mr. Chairman. Lastly, on the area of corruption, because I'm also the chairman of the Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission, we are going to also start our investigation in accordance with Executive Order 73, Section 5, particularly on Republic Act 3019, and after due investigation and 5E, recommend to the President filing appropriate criminal complaints before the Office of the Ombudsman, Department of Justice, or otherwise refer to such cases for appropriate action to these offices. So that is my presence here. Aside from the representing the thousands of victims now listening to this hearing, waiting, may pag-asa ba na mailabas ang mga pangalan, malaman nila, because hindi nila alam kung ano yung proseso, ano yung sistema. Number two, kami po sa PACC will conduct our own investigation, Mr. Chairman. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you then, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Sanchez. Really, thank you, Mr. Jimenez. We now call on Senator Bato de la Rosa. Can you stand up here, please, in the front? While he's preparing, I just want to ask Secretary Maynard about Section 1 of RA 10592. When we were perusing the law, I know that there's a distinction made pertaining to preventive imprisonment, no? And very quiet on the convicts, no? But there's a provision there, and I know, and I will premise this, that they were talking about preventive imprisonment. But at the last paragraph, at the last line, it says, Section 1 of RA 10592, amending Article 29 of the Revised Penal Code, provides for credit of preventive imprisonment. That's what I was saying. Article 29 expressly states that recidivists, habitual delinquents, escapees, and persons charged with heinous crimes are, and that's why I maintain that they could be covered, excluded from the coverage of this act. So in other words, kasama sila. I mean, an argument can be made for that. Huh? Diba? Hindi naman sinabing section this act.
That is one of our arguments for adopting, apart from harmonizing
it supports
Section 1 and Section 3, we also
your position
rely.
and our position
Exactly.
that heinous crimes are, for heinous criminals, they will not benefit from this law, correct?
That is correct, because otherwise, if the intention was only to exclude them from the benefit of Section 1 pertaining to preventive imprisonment time credit, then that would have been clearly stated. But the provision, the sentence says, from the benefits of this act, the entire act.
And with the permission of Senator De La Rosa, just one last question. on the matter of retributive justice and reformative justice, most of our laws, according to our constituencies, they say, and we agree, are purely retributive, may mga penalties na malalaki, di ba? Pero kanina, habang natatanong ako kay Mrs. Sarmenta at sa tinanong ko sila, did Mr. Sanchez ask for forgiveness? Never asked for forgiveness. And therefore, mayroon siyang retributive justice, talagang hindi siya dapat lumabas. But perhaps in the future, in the law that we're going to craft, siguro dapat we should require the asking of forgiveness. Because it may be insincere, but if they ask for forgiveness, that is an indication, at kung tinanggap yung forgiveness, that will be an indication na merong closure yung justice. Would you agree with that?
That is something that can be favorably considered. It's up to...
Spoken like a lawyer, but I'd like to ask you for your opinion.
Remorse is a very explicit expression of one's moral character.
Correct. And
It's good conduct if one shows remorse for something wrong that he has done in the past.
Good conduct is just a way for him to get out. But without remorse, there is no closure. Would you agree?
Perfectly agree.
And certainly in the provision of this, in the principle of this law that we're going to have to amend or enact, before we can be merciful, we must be just. Di ba?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Senator De La Rosa?
Mr. Chairman, I just would like to take this opportunity to correct the reports coming out from the newspapers that during my time, I was able to release 380 heinous crime convicts. 384. Nilagay nila dyan, 2018, mukha ko, then 384. For the record, I was assigned as Director General of Bucor from April 2018 to October 2018. So in a matter of 6 months, I was given a list by Bucor that during that span of during that 384. I would like to correct that. Kasi April to October lang ako doon, and that span of time, 6 months, I was given a list na actually, possibly, 120 lang ang napirmahan ko. But out of those 120 na pinirmahan ko, isa lang dyan yung convicted ng RA 6425, Dangerous Drugs Act. Isa lang po ang napirmahan ko. I just want to set the record straight. Kasi sabihin nila, totoo yung nireport ng newspaper, 384 sa akin. Hindi po, 120 lang. Possibly pa, bababa pa yan. Dahil pacheck ko yung records doon. At isa lang po, lahat yan ay rape, murder, robbery. Isa lang po ang drug case. Maraming murder. Tumawa si Sir Senator Ricto. Mr. Chairman, I would like to ask this question regarding GCTA for sale. As alleged by some PDLs via Senator Risa Hontiveros. Tanungin ko lang muna si Attorney Santos. Kasi kayo, si Mel, at saka si Director Paildon. Kasi kayo yung pinapa-lifestyle check ni Senator Amy Marcos. Totoo ba na mayroong GCTA for sale dyan sa Bucor? Can you answer me, sir?
That is addressed to Secretary Paildon, Undersecretary Paildon, right?
Sir?
Undersecretary Paildon, not to Mr. Santos.
Sa kanilang dalawa, sir. Si
No.
Postino and Paildon.
No. We called
Paildon.
Mr. Paildon to
Yes, sir.
answer this question.
Meron bang GCTA for sale sa Bucor?
Kasi automatic yung pag-grant ng GCTA, hindi naman siya kailangan hingiin eh. Because it's based on the number of years, ilang buwan ka naging behave. So, I still have to investigate this, but kahit hindi nila hingiin, i-grant sa kanila kung nag-behave sila. So, hindi ko makita kung kailangan nilang magbayad para mag-grant sa kanila yung GCTA.
Thank you.
But we will investigate, Your Honor.
Attorney Mel Faustino, meron bang GCTA for sale dyan?
Subscribe with this. Sumasangayon po ako sa sagot ni Director General. Wala naman pong dahilan para bumili ng GCTA.
Okay. Attorney Santos, tanungin kita, anong papel ng mga paralegal dyan sa Bucor? May tinatawag kayo dyan ng mga paralegal. Ano yan sila?
Pagka
You can advise him what to answer. Go ahead.
the
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
paralegals, as far as I know, these are PDLs. There are a lot of lawyers inside who are serving sentences inside. So these are specifically regarding GCTA. If you go inside our facilities and ask any PDL, he knows how to compute the exact date of his release based on GCTA. So these are the roles of the paralegals inside our facilities. They teach the inmates on the computation of their time allowances based on good behavior, based on studies, teaching and mentoring, and some instances, STAL. So every PDL, if they spent more than 5 years inside our facilities, know exactly how to compute, even
So these are
manually.
former members of the bar
Yes, yes, sir. And
inside jail, huh? and you're using them. So
the,
that means
the,
they'll
the
get good
PDLs,
conduct. They will get good conduct. Pa.
yes, sir. The PDLs who are
Allowance.
former members of the bar are helping understand the laws.
Thank
that
you, thank you,
covers.
thank you, General Paeldon. Mr. Chairman, I am trying to bring this out because I just would like to share with you my personal experience as Director General of Bucor. I'm not lawyering for Bucor, but in fairness, I would like to set the record straight. Yung aking experience dyan, whenever bababa ako sa opisina ko, pagbaba ko sa opisina, may nag-aabang sa akin dyan sa baba ng opisina. Asawa, anak, ng mga PDLs na sa loob. At ang palaging complain nila, Sir, maawa ka naman sa amin. Wala kaming pangbayad sa GCTA. Kaya hindi kami bibigyan ng GCTA yung aking asawa. Dapat matagal na yang nakalabas. According to them, sir, according to them. So, sabi ko, sinong nag-compute dyan sa inyong computation? Sabi na, sir, yung paralegal na si ganito, sir, nag-compute. Okay, you come with me, samahan ko kayo sa loob ng inmate documentation processing section pa yon, panahon natin. Pusama kayo doon. Pagdating ko doon sa IDPS, pinatayo ko lahat ng empleyado. Ilang beses ito eh. I really carry a big stick, Mr. Chairman. Yung malaking...
That is not a stick, that is a sword.
No, stick yung hindi ratan. Kamagong, Mr. Chairman. I used to tell them, I don't care kung matanda na kayo dito sa Bucor. Pero kung na-prove ko sa inyo na kayo nagbibinta ng GCTA dito, itong kamagong na ito, lulumpuhin ko kayo. Siguraduhin ko sa inyo yan, lulumpuhin ko kayo pag kayo nagbibinta. Sino nagbibinta ng GCTA dito? Sir, wala po. O bakit ito nagkiklaim itong asawa? Pakita ko yung record nila. Please. Tingnan nyo. Kasi kawawa ito, babalik-balik ito dito. Walang pamasahe, walang pabili ng bigas, tapos pabalikin nyo para lang sa GCTA na yan. Tingnan nyo. Compute. Kinumpute nila yung GCTA. Kalabasan ngayon, yung totoong computation galing sa documents, sir, hindi pa qualified. Itong computation na tama. So lumalabas talaga, Mr. Chairman, na lahat ng, and I'm not referring to the ones complaining to Senator Risa Hontiveros, karamihan dyan, yung mga hopeless na mga PDLs, pupunta yan doon sa mga paralegal. So, mga paralegal naman, very enterprising. Ako, tulungan mo ako. Ito yung aking records. Pero, may papel na yung PDL. May section, hindi ng GCTA. Sinong nakabili? Bigyan niyo ko ng pangalan kung sino. At talagang uupakan ko yan. Sir, wala kami may bigay. Pero balita namin, sir, meron daw gano'n. O balita lang yan, puro hearsay. In fairness naman dito sa mga tao na ito, itong mga taga-Bucor. When I was at the outside, I really hate Bucor. Bakit palaging Bucor pagdating sa drugs transaction, Bucor? Pero nung akong pumasok sa loob, I learned to appreciate their patience, their heroism. Marami sa kanila, Mr. Chairman, binaril na mga pinabaril na mga drug lord dahil ayaw mag-give in sa kanilang demand. Marami dyan sa kanila, binaril dahil ayaw mag-give in sa mga drug lord. So, sabi ko, hindi ito dapat nangyari. Kung may lord na yan, dapat matagal